Mimi Jonte Fresh. Mimi ndio nimetambulika hii Gikomba yote sekta ya manguo. You transform nguo ordinary za mtush zenye ziuka mna harufu ya bail into the freshest igikoshi yote. Siri ni hii real mpya ya pink. Na kushow mtush zinang'ara kung'ara kushinda kamera. So clean, so fresh. Ma customer wanaisana na story. Ninatumia aerial touch of down ya mpya tu.
Good evening to you and thank you for joining me tonight. You're watching Maisha Prime News with the latest headlines across the country and beyond. But first, let's have a look at our top stories.
Ile kitu ambacho kimebaki saizi ni ballot papers ambazo tunazi-expect zije kesho, lakini materials zingine zote ziko hapa ndani. Wapigaji kura tuko nao 1096 na 20. 96,020 voters registered in Kiambaa constituency.
My lady, on examination, I came up with the following conclusion that there are 99.99 plus % more chances of Zakaria Okot Obado is the biological father .
Welcome. The Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission (IEBC) say that it's all systems go for tomorrow's by-elections in Kiambaa constituency and Muguga ward respectively, with the latter's outcome eagerly awaited as the Jubilee Party and the William Ruto-linked United Democratic Alliance (UDA) face off in the home county of President Uhuru Kenyatta. Let's get the full report from Bushebi Jr.
With financial and logistical attributes intact, it's all systems go for Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission for Kiambaa by-elections.
Ile kitu ambacho kimebaki saizi ni ballot papers ambazo tunazi-expect zije kesho, lakini materials zingine zote ziko hapa ndani. Wapigaji kura tuko nao 1096 na 20. 96,020 voters registered in Kiambaa constituency.
For the first time in the political show of might between President Uhuru Kenyatta and his Deputy President William Ruto, the second in command has absolutely taken the fight to the president's doorstep.
The arrogance that we see in today's leadership raises many questions as to the future of this country.
Assist those who don't have ideas on how to move Kenya forward by fighting using the criminal justice system to fight the people who have better ideas on how to take Kenya forward. This whole fight that is political is a fight by people who do not have ideas on how to take Kenya forward.
Thursday's parliamentary by-election in Kiambaa and ward representative by-elections in Muguga ward, both in Kiambu County, has been touted as a must-win contest for President Kenyatta's Jubilee Party or a death trap for Jubilee's political influence in the Mount Kenya region. This is the first time the two are getting themselves in a direct political duel. With less than 24 hours to the Kiambaa parliamentary by-election and ward representative polls, Jubilee and United Democratic Alliance political parties' drums came to unexpected silence after pitching camp in the area, with each leaving nothing to chance throughout the weekend.
Liza wenzetu waache vitisho na waache kutumia polisi. Waache polisi wafanye kazi yao na wasiingilie IEBC. Waache IEBC wafanye kazi yao as an independent organ of the state.
The mini poll slated for July 15th has seen either party luminaries having locked horns in a bid to woo the more than 95,000 voters ahead of the exercise.
Tuko na masanduku 154 zile transparent ballot boxes, na hapo ndio tunaweka vitu vyote ambavyo vitahitajika katika shughuli ya kupiga kura Wednesday tarehe 15. Presiding officers na deputy presiding officers 308 na makarani 743 na 43 wote wako tayari.
Over the weekend was a beehive of activities as both parties crisscrossed the vast constituency in a bid to seek support from voters. The exercise narrowed down to a two-horse race pitting Jubilee's Kariri Njama and United Democratic Alliance UDA's candidate Njuguna Wanjiku for the parliamentary by-elections, and the United Democratic Alliance Kamau Thumbi, who will face off with Jubilee's Mungara Joseph Githinji and others in Muguga ward. IEBC has warned politicians against interfering with the exercises tomorrow in the name of protecting votes. It said that only accredited people will have access to the polling and tallying centers.
Yeah, we'll also be expected to go through the presiding officer, and we will also have security officers in those presiding in those polling stations, just in case anybody would want to cause a breach of peace. Outside the polling station, we will not expect any person to do any form of campaign.
So that they will give the Kiambaa people an opportunity to exercise their democratic right by electing the member of a parliament that they would want. So therefore, we are asking them to be firm. We know they are luminescence, and we know that there are people who want to interfere with the process. We have raised that question. We have raised it with IEBC. We have raised it with the police force, although we know that there are quite a number of police officers that have been given that will be in plain clothes to destabilize, especially the areas that they seems armor, the areas that they know that maybe probably they have strongholds. But we are telling the Kiambaa people to wake up very early tomorrow in the morning, come out from 6 and vote, so that by around 11 we will be done.
President Uhuru Kenyatta hoping to tilt the Kiambaa by-elections in its favor following the embarrassing loss the party encountered in Juja, Kiambu, Ruri and Nyandarua in the May by-elections. The president went ahead to meet with the Jubilee Party Kiambaa Member of Parliament candidate Kariri Njama and Muguga Ward MCA aspirant Githinji Mungara at State House on Thursday, July 8th. Jubilee Party disclosed that the former Kiambaa aspirants agreed to support Njama to win the Kiambaa seat. On their part, the candidates expressed their gratitude to the party leader for his continued support and encouragement. Njama and Mungara faced Deputy President's United Democratic Alliance Njuguna and Kamau Thumbi, respectively, in the Thursday, July 15th polls. The president banks on Njama's win to reclaim lost glory, while UDA is hoping to clinch the seats to affirm that Kiambaa is a hustler nation stronghold. At the time of the loss, Uhuru allegedly blamed Jubilee's Secretary General Raphael Tuju and Vice Chairman David Murade, who alleged that the party had been rigged out. Reporting for Maisha TV, I'm Bushabi Jr.
And it's a reprieve for LSK President Nelson Harvey after the High Court stopped his plea taking that was scheduled for Wednesday. Harvey, who was arrested on Tuesday and later released on 10,000 Kenyan shillings police bond, was directed to appear in court today to take the plea of assault. He is alleged to have assaulted the LSK CEO Mercy Wambua on Monday during a council member meeting at their offices. Law Society of Kenya LSK President Nelson Harvey has obtained orders from the High Court temporarily blocking his arrest or prosecution for allegedly assaulting suspended CEO Mercy Wambua. The orders signed by Justice Jairus Ngaira were directed to the Director of Criminal Investigations DCI, Director of Public Prosecutions DPP, and the Inspector General of Police.
So ours is to ask the prosecution authorities, and it's a very serious concern for us as Kenyans, if the President of the Law Society of Kenya can be dealt with in such an unprocedural and illegal manner.
Lawyer Brian Hayamba, who is representing Harvey, told the court that his client was arrested on Tuesday in his office without a notice or explanation of what he had done.
Because the Constitution is express, before you go and arrest somebody, the evidence should have been collected. So that when you arrest him, you present him for purposes of continuing with the prosecution. So we need to make that clear that before you go and arrest somebody, the evidence needs to have been collected and everything finalized, and only then can you go for somebody. So that is a concern for us. So we will be ready to face them in court. As soon as they are ready with their decision, we'll be here waiting.
According to Harvey, he learned about Wambua's assault claims from the media. He says that the media reported that the CEO had made a report at Mudangari police station. The outspoken LSK boss was given 7 days to apply for file a substantive motion for the judicial review, and the respondents another 7 days to respond upon being served the motion. Harvey was on Tuesday nabbed at the LSK offices on Gitanga Road and whisked away over the assault allegations. He was later in the evening released from the police custody on 10,000 Kenyan shillings cash bail. After grilling, he claimed his arrest was meant to harass him. Wambua alleged that Harvey assaulted her during a meeting at the LSK offices on Monday.
I feel harassed, I feel bullied, and my hand is painful as we speak. My finger can't actually stretch, and I'm headed to the hospital. And this is not actually the first time this is happening. Even on Friday, he attempted to assault me, but he did not do it, but he has done it today, and that's why I'm here.
The embattled CEO in the company of our lawyer Steve Ogola recorded a statement at the Mudangari police station stating that Harvey accosted her in the boardroom where she was to have a meeting. Harvey, on the other hand, dismissed the assault claims, blaming Wambua for interrupting the ongoing meeting at the boardroom with an intention of eavesdropping and secretly recording the proceedings. He insisted that Wambua is a trespasser at LSK offices, as a decision had been made during a special general meeting on June 26th to send her on compulsory leave with full pay. Wambua has since, however, obtained conservatory court orders to block any arbitrary ejection from office. Harvey has accused the LSK CEO of shielding two of his former predecessors from liability over the alleged plunder of hundreds of millions of the society's fund. Maisha TV. And now to COVID matters. Busia County government has sounded the alarm over increased number of COVID-19 cases and deaths. Governor Sospito Jamong now says the county healthcare systems may be overwhelmed. Philip Simiu has that report.
Marked as one of the affected COVID-19 hotspot counties in Western Kenya, Busia County is still grappling with the rise in COVID-19 infections, according to Governor Sospita Ojamong.
It's high time every individual takes personal responsibility to protect themselves and their loved ones. statistics we have are painting a very grim picture, and is a strong indicator that if we don't take the necessary precaution, this pandemic might hit us hard.
The county reported 67 new infections on Tuesday from size samples of 437, with all sub-counties having reported a case. With more than 300 infections in the last 7 days, the county is averaging 44 cases per day. Some 187 healthcare workers in the county have also tested positive since the outbreak, piling more pressure on health facilities in effort to contain the disease.
This has led to increased hospitalization of patients and increased number of fatalities.
County Commissioner John Korir has emphasized in need for residents to continue adhering to laid down protocols to combat the disease spread.
Wakati wowote wawe wamevaa mask, sio kwamba wakiona askari wanakimbilia tu kuvaa mask. Idadi ya wale ambao wamekufa tumesema ni 31, lakini those are what you call documented. Tunaamini ya kwamba kuna watu pia wanaweza kuwa wanaugua mashinani na hawajitokeza kuweza kupimwa.
Reporting for Maisha TV, I'm Philip Simi.
Government analyst at the forensic biology chemist John Kimani Mungai today testified that Migori Governor Okoth Obado sired Sharon Otieno's baby. Taking the witness stand at the Milimani Law Courts, Mungai said the DNA samples from Obado, which were matched against those of Otieno's unborn baby, indicated there was a 99.9% probability that the county chief sired the baby. The government analyst further testified that Sharon Otieno's vaginal swab, semen samples in a condom found at the scene, the blood stains from the jacket, trousers, open shoes, and Otieno's bra were also analyzed. The analysis absolved Obado's personal assistant Oyamo from Otieno's baby paternity links. The governor Oyamo and other suspects, who is Casper Obiero, was the former Migori County Assembly clerk, are accused of killing Sharon Otieno and her unborn baby in September 2018.
The hearing of Sharon Otieno and unborn child's murder case, which is before Lady Justice Cecilia Githua, entered day 3 on Wednesday, with witnesses cross-examined by the prosecution in a bid to unravel the truth. The court heard that Migori Governor Okoth Obado, who is the prime suspect in the case, was the biological father to Sharon's unborn child. This is according to government forensic analyst Kimani Mungai, who said a 99.9% match was recorded with the DNA generated from the fetus.
My lady, on examination, I came up with the following conclusion, that there are 99.99% more chances that Zakaria Okoth Obado is the biological father to the donor of the DNA generated from the fetus. The DNA generated from the fetus to the donor of the DNA.
The fourth witness, Veronica Wambugu, also testified in the case. Ms. Wambugu, who said she worked as a receptionist at Sagret Hotel in 2018, told the court that a customer approached and requested for an M-Pesa transaction. According to her, the customer did not have a Safaricom line, hence she used a phone to send the money given to her by the customer to the protected witness. However, upon cross-examination, she said that she did not know the person but agreed to the request out of good faith. She sent the protected witness a sum of 22,000 shillings, despite being given 25,000 shillings by the customer, and could not explain what happened to the balance. Hearing of the murder case continues on Thursday. For Maisha TV, I'm Bushabi Jr.
Today, Dr. Joseph Kang'ethe appeared before the Elizabeth Muli-led panel, where the ghost of the former Kiambu Governor Ferdinand Waititu scandal haunted him during the interview session. Dr. Kang'ethe maintained that there were a number of county officials who were not adhering to the law. However, he distanced himself from the scandal that saw 973 million of taxpayers' monies funding state house activities.
Sir, you realize that a CECM, yes, is directly answerable to the governor, and they function collectively as CCMs. But you realize that the county assembly has an oversight role. And so you have to function between the appointing authority, who is a governor, who has a leeway to engage in those political issues. But you are answerable to a county government, where the MCAs have to call you occasionally. And you'll be surprised how the county government, members of the county assembly function. During all this time, they were still playing their oversight role. They were calling us all the time. And so we had to function within the law, lest we also get into the murky waters.
Yes, it's those murky waters. Those murky waters involved expenditure, misappropriation of county government finances. You are part of the county government, working collectively as a cabinet of the county. There were major issues to do with misappropriation of funds reported by the Auditor General. As a CCM of the county, as a member of the county government, what did you do?
Mr. Choka, we could see that coming, and where it was clear that some of the units within the county were not sometimes following the rule of law. And you know, collectively within the CCM meetings, you highlight that such issues, and you limit yourself to your department. So there was no scandal in the education department. There were no chaos in my sector. And much of what we hear in the public was not directly a function of the then appointing authority, but those his powers were delegated to, especially the chief officers.
Residents of Kakrao village in Sonar East Sub-County, Migori County have expressed fear of a rampant insecurity in the area. The residents have called out the government to establish a police post in the village to help curb the insecurity in the area. The residents were speaking during the burial of a teacher who was found murdered last week.
Wahalifu wamechukulia advantage kwa issue ya kafu. Kwa vile kafu inaanza saa 1 na tulikuwa tukijua maskari wanatembea, lakini atakuambia sasa hivi watu hawaogopi maskari, watu wanaogopa wezi. Kwa sasa hivi hakuna kuogopa askari. Askari atakushika, utarudi nyumbani kwa usalama, kwa vile utaona vile utafanya na uhuru, lakini wezi watakuua. Sasa hivi hatuogopi maskari, tunaogopa wezi.
Jambo la kwanza, tunaomba serikali itupatie sitima hapa, kwa sababu mahali tunamwangaza security pia inaonekana. Security inakuwa nzuri. Jambo la pili, ninaomba kwamba sisi watu wa Kakrao tunaogopa serikali sana. Na kama tunaogopa serikali, tunaomba serikali pia tupe security. Tuwe na at least wema wa kuishi.
There is no way in a week we can bury 3-4 bodies. This is intolerable. We need this issue to be addressed in this world, and we also need sanity in terms of police enforcement. There's no way a ward can only have one police station, one center, when other jurisdictions have several police stations to address this national issue of security. There's no development we can address in this nation, in this area, everywhere without security. People are not sleeping. Added to curfew. There's nothing. We are crying as a government. We are crying. We are appealing to the government to address the issue of insecurity in Kakrao ward. We need several police stations.
Now crossing borders, at least 72 lives have been lost in riots that has been experienced in South Africa for the past 1 week, with hospitals torched, shopkeepers firing on mobs of looters as carnage sparked by President Zuma's jailing spreads. Protests that followed the arrest of former leader Jacob Zuma last week for failing to appear at a corruption inquiry have widened into looting and an outpouring of general anger over the hardship and inequality that persists 27 years after the end of apartheid. Stores and warehouses in South Africa were hit by looters on Wednesday for a 6th day running, despite President Cyril Ramaphosa deploying troops to quell the unrest that has claimed at least 72 lives.
It is therefore a matter of vital importance that we restore calm and stability to all parts of the country without any delay.
Protests that followed the arrest of former leader Jacob Zuma last week for failing to appear at a corruption inquiry have widened into looting and an outpouring of general anger over the hardship and inequality that persists 27 years after the end of apartheid. Poverty has been exacerbated by severe social and economic restrictions aimed at blocking the spread of COVID-19. Security officials say the government was working to halt the spread of the violence and looting, which has spread from Zuma's home in KwaZulu-Natal province to the country's biggest city, Johannesburg, and surrounding Gauteng province, and to the Indian Ocean port city, Durban. The armed forces were sending 2,500 soldiers to help the overwhelmed police, but these numbers are dwarfed by the deployment of more than 70,000 soldiers to enforce the last year's coronavirus lockdown, and only a handful of them were seen at some shopping centers.
It's over. It's over. I've got overheads. I owe banks money. How am I going to pay this month? With what? I have a child, my son is 14, still goes to school. I have a bond that I'm paying. I've been on my husband's back, with the COVID, him trying to help.
The number of arrests has risen so far to 1,234, although many thousands have been involved in the ransacking sprees. Maisha TV. And that's all we had for Maisha Prime News. My name is Rida Chebet Karing. Have a wonderful night. Authoritative.
After the expose that has caught the attention of many Kenyans, some have come in to weigh in with their views.
Dependable. The views of members of the public cannot be taken in vain. Trusted.
The judicial test about knowing what they know. They look at you and they say, this one is like this.
And definitely love.
Hii ni station imegrow very fast na naipenda sana.
You are advising or you are directing. Number two, Mr. Speaker.
You are now mixing up issues. Please, let's hold your horses. When they ask the speaker, not everybody is a speaker. So I am following. I'll add in 5 minutes.
We are here to inform.
Kama mwananchi hajachanganyikiwa anajua tofauti ya MCA na mjumbe, kwani atachanganyikiwa vipi asijue kani ni executive kani ni
on record that there is nobody who is above the law.
Educate.
Being poor does not mean God did not give you a good brain. So money does not buy everything. And let me warn further that there are already people collecting money.
And entertain you 24 hours of the day. And 7 days of the week.
Mombasa is under